When I began working on my business degree, I took a required class called Legal Environment of Business. In the very first chapter, we discussed perceptions and how these perceptions can affect our legal and political system. A couple of examples are how Americans are skewed by the perceptions of how big business can't be trusted and the rich are dishonest. I'm going to ask you to let go of those perceptions for the next few minutes and instead think, are we certain that we really have all different interests? Supporting a flat rate tax might be a positive solution for our collective interests, such as improving our standards of living through increased job availability, higher reward on our investment opportunities, and generally just more take-home pay. Now, this may sound too good to be true, but let's take a look. So the flat rate tax plan previously offered by Mitt Romney is being brought up again for 2016 Republican nomination hopefuls. They hope for a flat rate tax of around 17%. Now, leave their wealth or not and their party behind, and let's take a look at what they're saying. A flat rate tax for all taxpayers would be the same rate, no exemptions, no deductions. Wikipedia says this flat rate plan applies to both individuals and corporations. In fact, according to The Wheat magazine, all of the current offers of flat rate tax agree on this topic. Looking at our current system, which is the proportional tax system, we have 7 tax brackets with corresponding rates for individual taxpayers. The tax brackets range from 10% to 39.6%. And one of these brackets is actually only $1,800 wide. For corporations, their taxes are in the excess of 35% according to Forbes, and according to Kiplinger, 4,500 changes to the tax code have occurred in the last 10 years. With state taxes and Social Security, some individuals are paying over 50% on their earnings. How much of your check would you pay before you looked into other options? I want to revisit a concept from my last speech, the Laffer curve. Let me recap real quickly. I have this illustration just so you can follow along. The idea is for the government to capture the maximum amount of tax revenue that they have to hit a point of the curve just right. According to the Washington Post, this is considered supply-side economics, but let's remember we're not going to hold any perceptions about suppliers right now. So if the government taxes 0, it will receive $0. But if the government taxes 100%, it will also receive $0. Why? Because no one in their right mind would work for 0% take-home. Sounds reasonable. This concept is seen in how our economy is going bust today. In my opening statement, I told you a flat rate tax could offer more jobs, and now I've told you that I think that we're going bust according to the Laffer curve concept. Now, how can a flat rate tax schedule help? According to Forbes, 35% of corporate tax rate 35% is the corporate tax rate, which is the highest of any developed nation on the planet. U.S. corporations and foreign subsidiaries often make money in those foreign economies and never bring that money home for taxation. For instance, if they do business in Ireland and they have a 12.5% tax in Ireland, they pay the 12.5% and they never bring it home for that 35% tax here. Wouldn't you consider doing the same? The current estimate of U.S. corporate tax dollars housed offshore is around $2 trillion. Microsoft alone holds an estimated $93 billion. The taxes we could capture alone off of U.S. corporate tax revenue are offered at the 17% would be around $340 billion. Plus, those companies could afford to bring jobs home. We could have more jobs, which would in turn create more tax revenue. Is this starting to sound like big business and you might have some similar interests? Now let's look at a second topic I brought up, reward for work and investments. Under our current tax system, individuals pay about up to 39.6% in federal taxes. And then when they do invest that money, and they are able to save, they pay again on the money that they've saved and earned on. Forbes says that that's at around 23% on the income of those investments. And then if what they have left when they spend, they are again taxed. And then when they die, the nest egg that they leave to their family is taxed again. I don't know about you, but it sounds like a big deterrent from achieving the American dream to me. Right now, you're working on your degree, and I assume you want the same thing as I do. A great career with stable income, saving your money, able to send your children to college, retire someday, and leave something behind. Under a flat rate tax, you would be taxed only once for your initial income. That's it. If you save money, you could not be taxed again. Your children could not be taxed on what you left behind. So as you grew in your career, you wouldn't get taxed more and more. Are you not likely to work harder to bring more money home and invest more in the future? This has a double positive effect on you and the economy because there would be more invested in our collective futures. Now let's discuss the last point I brought up, take-home pay. This one is easy. Most of us want to bring more money home on our paycheck. I mean, ideally, we'd bring home all of our money, but we know that's not possible. We know that as our income grows, so do our taxes. but why not at the same percentage? 17% to you is 17% to me, and so forth, right? What if you receive a raise, though, for outstanding work, and this puts you in the next tax bracket, and now you get to take home less? Do you think that might make some people think twice before they give that same effort again? Under a flat rate, increases would be rewarded equally. In closing, I want to ask you to consider the flat rate tax on its merits, and not on the incomes and perceptions of the incomes of the associated people with a given party. Make a choice to bringing businesses, jobs, and taxes back to America. Invest in our futures and not be double taxed, and take home more. As far as perceptions go, maybe we should turn them around. Maybe if they are so wealthy that it's because they understand what it takes to stimulate an economy. And maybe it's time for that economy to benefit all working Americans. And these are my note cards.